Welcome back to the Void Compass. This video is an addendum to the video that I released yesterday called From Lust to Liberation. In this video I discussed the importance of moving the energy upwards through the energetic chain, recognizing it as Kundalini energy and not purely as sexual energy. I explained the difference between approaching this from soul or approaching it from mind. There is a misconception in the comments that I wish to address. A few commenters have interpreted this video as saying you must experience complete abstinence. You must not experience any physical touch with yourself, that I'm somehow discouraging this. This could not be further from the truth. I am not saying that. I am not saying you do not have the right to experience that touch with yourself. I am not saying that. The last thing I want is people on this journey thinking that they don't have the right to experience sexual pleasure of any kind. I felt that I made that clear, but I have not, apparently. So let me clarify. I am not saying you should never experience that intimacy with yourself physically. I am not saying you should never experience releases. That goes for men and women. I am highlighting the difference between approaching this energy from a place of soul, from a holistic place, from a divinely guided place, or approaching it from a place purely of mind and lust and mental fantasy. There is a chasm of difference between the two experiences. One is connected to true intimacy, getting to know yourself, your body, and all of its beautiful natural functions. The other is moving away from that intimacy, moving deep within the realm of the mind and separating your consciousness from your physical body, even though you're experiencing physical pleasure during that time. So there is a big difference between the two. This is not a rejection of your sexuality. I stated that explicitly in the previous video. This is not a rejection of your sexuality. This is an encouraging, a transformation. This is a bringing it up to a different level of consciousness, experiencing sexuality in its purest form, in its divinely guided form, not in its limited, purely 3D, mind-based physical function form. Again, a chasm of difference between the two. I wanted to clear that up. You have every right to experience that pleasure. You have every right to experience your, as I like to call them, sacred touch rituals. Sacred self-love rituals. You engage in that experience, not as a way to escape into mental fantasy and lustful patterns, but out of a genuine reverence for the physical vessel that holds you. Feeling that love in physical form. It is a form of intimacy. It is a form of self-love. It is a form of connection to self. I would never ask that you deprive yourself of that. It is the energetic standpoint within that experience that counts. So, something else I wish to add, which I didn't. Someone may ask, what are practical ways to begin to feel this within the body more? To feel this more holistic movement of energy through the body, so it's not just purely localized. This is an entire video topic on its own. How do you not only experience this energy within the lower chakras, how do you bring it up through the chain? I'll briefly touch on this now. Your breathing patterns and intentions are the most important drivers of this. So, if you are engaged in that sacred activity with yourself, your mind is clear, you are focused on the sensations of your own body, you are not escaping into mental fantasy. Your breathing patterns, your deep breathing up through two different pathways. One being the microcosmic orbit pathway, and one being straight through the natural 7 chakra system pathway. I will go into more detail on those breathing patterns in an upcoming video, but I will say, just briefly for now, if you are experiencing this pleasure in your body, breathe up through your chakra system throughout. Nice, deep, full breaths, consciously breathing, intending to bring that energy up to your heart and beyond. With every breath, you pull that energy gently up, allowing it to fill your body, to fill every cell in your body. It is no longer localized near the genital area. It is no longer experienced as a buildup of tension within the pelvic floor. This extremely relaxed and open breathing begins to pull you away from the nervous system pathway that leads to a release. It becomes a more holistic experience, a filling experience. There are anatomical differences between men and women, and there is far too much nuance to cover in a single video offering, which is exactly what I said in the last video. This is a deep topic, it's quite complex, and it will bring up a lot of emotions and states of being that are lingering beneath the surface, waiting to be addressed. But I wanted to at least touch on this. Your intention, the energy with which you approach this sacred experience, is what counts. It would break my heart to know that anyone thinks that I'm advocating that you should feel ashamed for wanting to experience that with yourself. I will never say that. I'm simply saying, embrace your sexuality for what it actually is, a vehicle to the divine. And yes, that includes touch, whether that is with yourself or with your sacred partner or counterpart. Some people are asking me, but what happens with physical intimacy when it comes to your twin? Do we still get to experience that? Of course. But in that deeply soul-aligned way, not in a mind-based lustful way, for they can only interact with you through the language and pipeline of soul, because they are you. This is why I want to bring you into that state already while you are in your separation or while you are celibate, that becomes your natural state of being. That your sexuality is also aligned with soul like every other part of you. I think I've made this clear. If you have any other questions, if you're unsure, if you want to delve deep into the sexual transmutation process, and you want personalized guidance on that, reach out to me. All the information is in the video description, as always. I'm going to leave it here, but I will see you next time on The Void Compass with more.